How's it going? I'm Ryan. Today I'm going to go over the three trades I took. First one was on ES. Last two were on NQ. I'm going to go over each of them. I made a stupid mistake today. Should have had a really nice winning trade. I made a mistake and it turned into a losing trade. We'll talk about that in just a second. For now, we're looking at ES on the daily time frame. We had a really long-term support. We broke that in the after hours, and then the pre-market kind of retested and dropped. Had a pretty big red day today on both ES and NQ. Got a little bit of bounce at the end of the day, but we'll take a look at, we'll back it up. We'll take a look at what I was watching. So we had some zones here, primarily this zone here, this like 5262 to 5265 or so was a swing low. Then we had this big support zone here, around like 5250, to 5253 at the top end. That was this zone right here where we had a lot of rejections. It's previous all-time high before we broke above it, but a lot of resistance there before we broke above it, and it was resistance turned support now that we're above it, but we hadn't yet tested it, so that was a big area as well. To the downside, we had this zone, we didn't quite get to it, but this was an area that we found support, found resistance, support. Yeah, and then we had yesterday's highs and lows. Those didn't come into play. Like I said, we had that long-term support trend line. Kind of broke that at the end of yesterday's trading session. Got a really nice retest in the pre-market, and dumped from there. So coming into the day, we were looking super weak. We were looking really weak. We had a big downtrend coming into the day, so I was looking for plays to the downside, especially when we opened up. We had a little bit of a bounce here in the pre-market, but opened up and continued making lower lows. So I was looking for a play to the downside, and my first trade was right here. So let's take a look. This was that major support zone that was a previous all-time high that we hadn't come back and retested. So once we broke below this, we started to form what to me was looking like a bit of a bear flag. We had come down, started to consolidate a little bit, and on the 1 minute chart, I entered this trade. I sized up. I was trading ES. So normally on ES and NQ, I take one contract, but I'm going to start taking up to two contracts on ES just because it moves a little slower and a little bit less volatile than NQ. So two contracts on ES is probably about similar risk management for me than when I'm trading one contract in NQ. So what did I do here? I took a short position when we broke this trend line. We came up and we were retesting. I entered two shorts here. Now my stop was above this level at 5244. So if we broke above this level, I was out. I had about like 1.5 or so based on my entry, about 1.5 points of risk. I was targeting low of day for my first trim, and then I was going to let my second one run. We got this breakdown, and it dropped pretty quick. And when it dropped, I tried to scale out, but I made a mistake, and this is where my mistake was. So if we look, these are 2-point increments. I got in somewhere up in here. This was, about a 5-point move. I had two contracts. That's $5 a point. So $5 a point times 5 points, 25. Two contracts, $50. I was up about $50 at this point. I didn't trim one here at the low of day because we broke so quick. When we were breaking down, I tried to scale out. You can see this happened on 1 minute. So we broke and reversed really fast. But when we were down here, I was up quite a bit. I was up, over $40 or so when I tried to get out of my position. And the mistake that I made is coming from trading options, I'm used to buying puts or buying calls. And then when you're getting out of them, you just sell your put or sell your call. With futures, you sell to enter a short position and you buy to exit. Likewise, or opposite for going long, you buy a contract to enter it and sell to exit it. So the mistake that I made is when we came down here and I was trying to exit my position, instead of buying 2 positions to close my short, I sold 2 more positions. So I doubled my position at the bottom. And that was a major mistake, right? Instead of having, about a $30-40 win here, I doubled my position size at the bottom. From there, we bounced, and we were kind of bouncing and consolidating in this range. And I saw that my profit and loss was kind of all over the place, and I couldn't figure out why I was, at a loss on my position until that I realized the mistake that I'd made, which was selling rather than buying to close out. So that's just an unfamiliarity with trading futures. I think in the moment I was trying to exit quickly, and I'm just more used to trading options. So I clicked sell, and instead of actually closing my position, I doubled it. And I doubled it at the worst time. I doubled it down here, and then we reversed. So what was a really good profitable trade became unprofitable. I ended up losing $26 on this trade. Not terrible, all things considered, like how bad I kind of fudged this. So that was my first trade of the day. I wasn't too mad, but I was kind of bummed out because I entered a break of a flag break, had a pretty nice move. I scaled up, so it was a big win for me. Usually my wins are, $20 or so. Having like a $30, $40, $50 win here if I exited correctly, probably would have been around $40 because we were kind of bouncing around. It would have been a big win for me. So it was disappointing, I'll say. Disappointing way to start the day by making that mistake. The only positive thing is that I learned from that, and I'll remember that every single time I trade futures, and I can't say that it will never happen again, but I'm pretty confident that I will not repeat that mistake, just because, yeah, it was a mistake, and it was a bummer because a good trade turned into a bad one. A winning trade turned into a losing trade. All things considered, I had 4 contracts. That's way more than I usually ever take. In fact, today was the first time I ever took 2 contracts. So usually I'm trading 1. I was at 4 contracts. This could have been really bad, especially if I held on for this bounce up here. So had a potential to lose a lot of money here. I'm glad that I did not. Usually when I realize I make a mistake, I just exit immediately. I don't try to wait it out and, capitalize. Or I especially because I entered shorts at the bottom here, and I saw the writing on the wall when we had this volume and this hammer. So exited for a $26 loss here. That's how I started the day. Kind of a bummer. Let's go over to NQ. Those were the last 2 trades I took on the day. It was NQ, so let's take a look. On NQ, I did a very similar trade. We're on the 1 minute. We can stay on the 1 minute. I guess we'll look at the 5 minute and then we'll take a look at the 1 minute. So on NQ, we did have news come out at 8, but on NQ is a very, very similar trade. We were selling off. We started to consolidate and bounce a little bit. We formed a flag, and then we got continuation. So I took a put or a short position here, and I sold near low a day, and this was a win. So this was a win that brought me back to being down $26. I was down $3. So let's take a look at the 1 minute chart here and what I was watching. So this is what it looks like. We had that news at 8 that kind of had this crazy volatility, but once we broke here, I entered, I think I entered on the break, and no, I must have entered on this candle. I didn't enter the breakout. I entered here when we were kind of pulling up into this area that we were holding as support, and I sold it low a day. That was, a little over a 10-point move. That was about like a 15-point move or so. I didn't capture the whole thing, but I was down $3. So nice profitable trade. Same exact idea, right? Downtrend, look for a downtrend play. We broke a flag, and I got in on that. So That was my second trade. That brought me to -$3 overall. So this was a winning trade. I actually traded it properly. I sold and then I bought to exit. So that was my second trade. My third trade was a losing trade, and this was a bad trade. My first two trades, I think, were solid. Obviously, my first trade, I made a mistake, and I didn't take profit. I averaged in, which was just a bad idea. My third trade was bad. So having come back and being within $3 of break even, I said it. I knew I shouldn't have traded another trade today, especially the way I started, but I said I just want to take one more trade because I made that mistake. I should have had a really nice profitable day. I should have had like a $40 win into like another, $25 win. It would have been a huge day for me comparatively speaking to my other days. So I was looking for just one more trade. I knew that if I could get, just a solid 10, 15 points on NQ, that would be a nice solid win for me. We bounced here, and we were kind of up above the support again, and I thought that we were going to get a break of a flag to the upside. So I don't know, I was on the flag move today. Apparently I was feeling the flags. But I entered too early. I didn't let things play out, and I got stopped out on this candle here. So it'll be a little bit clear on the 1 minute because I didn't wait for the 5 minute. So this is what I was watching. So we had kind of this flag. We were holding support. We got this breakout. I set a buy order right in here, and a stop loss was below this wick. So I had it at 1828. Where is that? Right here. So I had my stop loss right here, kind of right in this area where we bounced below kind of all these relative wicks here. We stopped out, we pushed up. So I got stopped out a little too soon on that. Looking back, I probably could have risked another, couple points in here, maybe put it, 18,224. Somewhere around these wicks probably would have been a little bit better. Obviously a bit more risk, but I was just aiming for this kind of level up in here that we had rejected off of a few times. That would have been about a 15-point move, $30 win, and would have been solid. So I had a pretty tight stop loss, and it hit it by 1 point. We came down to 18,227. Mine was at 18,228, so I got stopped out by 1 point. It's just a little unfortunate, but it is my fault because I entered too soon. And why did I enter too soon? It's because I didn't let things play out on 5 minute. All the two previous trades that I took were flag breaks of a 5 minute flag, right? We had consolidation on the 5 minute chart. We had a clear flag and then a break. Here we didn't have that yet. That flag, or it wasn't really a flag because we didn't get that break to the upside, but it hadn't even formed on the 5 minute yet. I was just paying too much attention to the 1 minute chart. Additionally, we're still in a downtrend. We still had a lower low, a lower high. I shouldn't have really been looking for a trade to the upside here, in my own personal opinion. So third trade of the day was emotionally fueled. I was just trying to have a green day because I was salty that I messed up my first trade. So that's what it was. I knew better. I still took it, and that's just a discipline error on my part. So overall ended up down $19 on the day. So I took a $15 or a $16 loss here. Not terrible, but it could have been a really solid day. It turned into a red day for me. So a little bit frustrating, but I know that, the first two trades I had were solid. Just mistakes were made and stupid mistakes. So we'll learn from it and move on. That's all I got for you. Thank you for watching. I do trade live Monday through Friday. So if you feel so inclined, stop by. I'd love to have you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.